5.0 RL, and why social indulgence is very important for grooming the next generations. So we have seen one recent generation, Gen Z. There is a lot of complaints that they lack social intelligence or work intelligence or overall life intelligence. So recently, there was a news in circulation that for the first time ever in a history, one generation has lower IQ compared to all the previous generations. Because generation to generation, the IQ always goes up. That's the acceptance. But why is this happening? I'll give by metaphor of how, irrespective, at least for the last 2 generations, 3 generations, those who are not from the film fraternity, right, in this room and elsewhere, we all have very good understanding about the film directors, actors, actresses, their lives, what happens. We all speak about them, about their lives, as if we know them, they're all our neighbors, right? Why? Because the knowledge that we acquired about them is always from some magazines or some kind of newspapers or gossips. It is not a curated knowledge. We all learn about a certain industry or a society, but in a very unstructured and how much authenticity is there, we never bothered. So we don't mind talking about megastar Chiranjeevi or Amitabh Bachchan family or even Tom Cruise or anybody. We talk as if we know them very well, and this is how Hollywood operates. This is how Bollywood operates. This is how Talluri operates, right? Now extend it to every walk of the life. That is where we see with Gen Z. Why? Because the problem is most of their societal understanding has gone from the so-called mobile device. It is not their problem. As a system, we all failed. Mobiles came into our life, cheap internet access, and also parents felt as if they are doing some great job there. So the information that was fed to them through all various channels, right? Nobody really bothered about the sanity of the information. And that created a very good intelligence layer in them because the information is processed to knowledge, and that knowledge, today we all understand this because we are living in the AI era. We can understand how machines learn because that is mimicking humans. So machines take the knowledge basis and then they create their neural artificial neural networks are responsible for creating the intelligence, that is knowledge in action. Right? Similarly, at the human layer, we all have given access to these devices and made them, we're blaming them today, which hurts me because I worked with Gen Z. We floated the world's first Gen Z cloud campus, and I had the opportunity of working with at least 1,800 of them. And they all were in the teams, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade. We floated the alpha, the artificial intelligence journal, right? We made them work on Ask Anjali. We made them, work on Storybot, story editorial bot. And we didn't find this problem with them because they all started early. And the way they really, passed through the society blurredly, they tried to understand education, the problem of education during COVID. In their teens, authentic way, they were mentored by our global mentorship, not just on the coding, not just on the architecture, on how to reach out to policymakers, how to interview the vice chancellors, how to interview the policymakers. That's the subject matter experts. And with the kind of knowledge they all gained, today, when I speak to these students, right, now, of course, they graduated, even few of them are working in, the big to small companies, few have floated their startups. I don't see that problem. So the blowing is on at a large scale with a system which failed to actually give them the right resources. Right resources in the right time makes a lot of difference. And I don't think we should do this kind of a mistake with Gen Alpha and the other generations going forward. So this problem will be bad for baby boomers or our great grandfathers, for millennials as well. Even when we were watching TV, they used to call it as an idiot box. Though it was all curated content coming, sitting in front of a TV, watching it for us, Our parents used to shout at us, go play in the streets. This is not where you sit, right? We're just absorbing everything from there. And for somebody who watches a lot of movies, pardon me, but every day I have people who watch at least one movie. At least one movie. For them, family, society, life is different because they understand things from the movies. And later part of life, when they really start leading their life, they face a lot of friction. Of course, they will evolve over time, but early stage when we get the students, our, the next generation involved into the real society, try to understand, this kind of curriculums anywhere, right? That is when the five senses really starts to actuate and work in tandem with this cognitive way, that is sitting in your inside us. So this kind of actuation is required, and that is where Usha, myself, and the team, we were working on this cognitive, metacognitive learning. This has been there for years, ages. There is nothing new. Maybe they're just packaging it to the new times. Okay, somebody calls it as the Gurukul of 21st century. I said, okay, fine. But that is how it appears. I'm very glad. Somebody calls us as, oh my God, you're the next, the model for education and all. I was like, okay, fine. Flowering was good for a time, but unless it is really spreading out and extending, there is no point in creating the models and just making them sit in the lab. So this lab to life and lab to life at scale is what our journey is going to be now and future. We are happy to give this curriculum. We welcome people to imitate this. We don't bother. We welcome people to imitate this. Yes. We welcome people to adopt this at scale. Government schools or government colleges, these kind of curriculums are most welcome. I myself am getting real through CRI into this curriculum at great efforts. I am pushing few of them from here. I don't believe in this copywriting and the IP stuff, at least for the sake of education, because this is all about our next generations. If we are just going to a few, clutches of IP, revenues and profits, I know what is going to be the fate of my grandkids. I value more of their inner freedom and life than what kind of a materialistic luxury that I'm just transferring to them. So, just, and this is a social responsibility that I want everyone to keep in mind. And whenever you see any kid spending more time on mobiles or such kind of sources, take that social responsibility. They need not have to be our kids. Like if we see somebody going and touching an iron box, what will we do? Somebody going to the plug, immediately we rush to them, right? Or at the elevator in the mall, immediately we have to go thinking. So that is a compulsive leadership. I'm not talking about a natural or acquired leadership there. Every parent, every grandparent, irrespective of their age, we all have this kind of a responsibility to correct. If the parents are feeling bad, let's take 1 or 2 minutes of time and explain them, see, this is not the way. Because tomorrow, how we'll shape up is again with the same kind of a hallowed intelligence, siloed intelligence, which is not at all good for the kind of civilization we are at least envisioning from here. This is where, again, the from Usha's words, for the first time, maybe we should give opportunity for a generation to design their own civilization. Why? Because by involving them, by getting them indulged into this kind of a work-based learning, right? And throw it into those ecosystems. I know it hurts for few parents. Let us, if there is no pain, there is no gain. Let them go into the sun. Let them go into the rain. Let them go to it. Let them come back to the studios. Let them stretch. I'm telling you, it is all what. This is how the Gurukul has operated at least, a few hundreds of years back. I haven't seen them, but maybe, from what all we hear and believe, even the son of a king and a queen, right? They were sent to not even the daughters, of the son and queen, they were sent to the places in forest. Why Gurukulas were in forest? Was because there is no civilization there, right? Their five senses should always be active, even when they are sleeping, right? There's some time I'm not recollecting. Even when they are sleeping, they should have a small sense of that should keep them awake, because they're all living in mid of a forest, and any snake or any kind of a creature can come and attack them any moment. The guru gives them a small assignment of go, get these leaves or stems or whatever from my yaga, yagna or my ritual. It is not that, they're exploiting the student. The moment you go to some kind of a place where any animal or any creature or any creeper can attack them, it is no different from a warfield, technically. 1 second is enough for them to basically die. So this is how they made sure they had developed the kind of cognitive abilities, and those cognitive abilities translated to the body. That is the neuromuscular and sensory motor actuation and perfection. So without actuation, where is the point of perfection? And with this indulgence, right, we are talking about that kind of a perfection, right? In actuating them not only at the cognitive level, but at a neuromuscular and sensory motor. That is as a whole. That is the holistic evolution. That is the holistic development that we are. For this, if a parent has to take a pain, let them. It is all worthful. And if we take that kind of a pain, then they even our next generations, they'll continue to do the same kind of practice. Because somewhere in the last 20 years, things have changed. Parents have become more, the prince and princess kind of a culture has flown. I would say, yeah, let them be crown prince and crown princess. Right? The crown prince and crown princess, they have to fight the war, they have to protect the country, they have luxury, but at a cost of protecting the country. Right? At a responsibility. That's what I'm saying. Small to scale. Responsibility. Accountability about themselves, also I would give people. We're all talking big about sustainability, we're all talking about climate action. All this is a result of human negligence. And why this has come into picture is because of lack of this kind of indulgence. That's it. After 10 years or 20 years of using diesel vehicles, after regulatory giving permissions to these vehicles, I'm not blaming anybody, but this is how we've blamed ourselves. And somebody realizes that now we have to stop them, we have to move to electric vehicles or tomorrow green hydrogen, whatnot. That means we somewhere failed to understand that this is harmful to our planet. I think Srikanth will resonate with what I'm speaking because she's a big time, she's worked a lot in space and, and maybe one few words from you will give clarity to them. On this note, I thank again everyone. I'd like to start here for today. This is an ongoing series and we should continue to meet. We should continue to express ourselves and 6D Varsity going forward through our 6D studios. We will continue to continue this culture where we invite speakers, not about speaking about the past achievements. Past achievements are good, but about what we can do in the future, how we can contribute to the future. Okay? And thank you so much once again. Yeah, please.